So the project really made me very curious, and I was so curious to really try to find a way, how can I connect with it? How can my project connect with it? But I guess it answered itself, and but that sounded easy. But the most challenging part was like, now how do I respond to this research? How do I respond to Atlas uncertainty as an artist? How can I make work that an ordinary person can relate somehow, and of course have questions about the whole research around Atlas uncertainty? My name is Wezile Harmans, based in Cape Town, South Africa, but I work also between Johannesburg and Cape Town. I would like to say that I'm an art practitioner because my practice revolves around performance, video installation, and mostly research-based works. I study human behavior, become very observant in my work, and I like the idea of movement. How do bodies move? How do words move? How do materials move? And how do we position ourselves into these spaces that are welcoming and unwelcoming? I've created an artwork titled When We Travel, Where Do We Circle? And it has a question mark at the end. Circling is like a notion of no movement, but there's a question mark where, meaning that this is in progress. This is something that we don't have an answer to it yet. And then I ask again in relation to urbanization, how do people move? How do these spaces move? And I looked at Berea in Johannesburg, which is quite a very popular place. Most of it people come and stay. Some are based in South Africa in different provinces, some outside South Africa. And knowing what Johannesburg is known for, a high economic hub. So my interest was this going in and coming out, and the reason people come to Berea and go to Berea, and how Berea kept on changing through the structure, the buildings, and people inhabiting the space and people leaving. So I was very interested in that, and I thought of documents, I thought of officials, I thought of words, I thought of submission in order to get to Berea, to live to Berea, to stay in Berea. And I looking at all this data, very sensitive information, very personal information. Also, as an artist, I question myself, maybe there's more undocumented people. So how do we cooperate the undocumented and the documented one? And I started to think more about this, and I used the batting material. The batting material is very soft, and it's a white material, right? Within it, there is coffee and tea. It's a substance that can absorb something and leaves an evidence, and that the substance was there. And that's how I looked at the people who are in Berea, or going to Berea, or coming to Berea. There's an evidence that they were there. And when I look at that research I received, all the research material does kind of show us the evidence of the people were there. I think the idea of using soft material to encounter kind and uncomfortable, spaces or research material, it responds to this. The work, of course, touches multiple of themes, but the one that I'm particularly interested in was the idea of formal and informality, and also the future, and as it's created in multiple ways, how can we define it? And also having this open mind that there are many angles or there are many ways to really define the future. And it's like knowledge transmission, being aware of there are multiple ways of transporting the knowledge from formality, which is the academics, to the art, being creativity, and to the locals, which is undocumented, people creating their own languages, their own names, create names for something that those local know. So I was very interested in that idea of how do we pass on this information? How do we move directly or indirectly? Yeah, I spent so many times looking at the work before creating it, looking how I'm going to do it, why I'm doing it, and trying to get an understanding of the research. I think 70% of the time was just me going on and off, on and off. And I was like, how can I really show this in a way somebody who has no means to understand a research material, but also how can this artwork be another layer into this research?